I have returned. Okay, so we were speaking about death, transformation, and rebirth, endings, becoming new, and just giving birth to a complete version of ourselves, right? You know how when women go in labor, they give birth. So we are able to have that metamorphosis happened to us while being actively present in our lives. And we don't have to wait for something tragic to happen. We can go ahead and examine what's happening with our lives, what we want to keep, what we don't want to keep. This is why it's important that we detach from the programming so that we can genuinely choose what exactly it is that we want. So that everything that we take with us, it's something that we are conscious of and that we choose for ourselves that this is what we want because due to the to all the programming that has been installed into our minds, right? A lot of us, and I speak from my experience, I didn't a lot of the things that I carried were in mind to carry. A lot of the beliefs that I had were no longer benefiting me. And they were causing me to self sabotage in ways where I would have destructive habits and I would overindulge in these habits. And then my outer experience was not what I wanted because my inside wasn't what I wanted either, right? Because I had input so many things that didn't belong to me, so much weight that wasn't mine to carry. And then I had belief systems that I didn't even believed in, right? And I was creating hell on earth for myself. So I was helping others who wanted to create hate on hell on earth for me, create hate on hell on earth for me because I was self-sabotaging because I didn't know who I was and what I wanted and what I believed in and nothing, right? So the point being with endings, death, right? I was speaking this morning about endings, right? And how sometimes we have endings because and I always talk about addictions because I have experience with addictions, right? So, like, let's say with addictions, right, we end up sometimes in recovery homes. And sometimes when we suffer from mental illness, we end up in mental institutions. And sometimes when we commit a crime, we end up in jail, right? So, because of our actions, we give an ending to a version of ourselves, whether we want that version of ourselves to end or not. But those are just like extreme measures, right? And that those are types of endings, right? But we don't have to wait for it to get to that level. We can go ahead and examine our lives and see what is working and what is not working and what is it that I'm carrying and what it is that I need to let go of. And for that, that takes introspective, it takes temperance, and it takes going within, right? And it's something that we have to do for ourselves. Nobody could come in and do it for us. It's something that we have to allocate time for. It's something that we have to want to do. And sometimes it should be like a necessity. You know how we need water? We should want what is best for us. And the best things for us is to know ourselves, to have a foundation for our lives that is solid, that is stable, that is ours. And the way to do that is to go within. And when I say go within, I don't mean, you know, meditate all the time and just isolate yourself and not do anything. No, I mean take time for you. Like, give yourself 30 minutes, an hour a day to put your life in order. or to take an inventory of your life. And this, you could do this no matter what you're doing. You don't have to stop doing anything to go ahead and take an inventory of your life, to, take an honest look at what's going on with you inside. Like, do a check in with yourself. Like, hey, Susan, how are you doing? We have to do those things. We don't have to wait for a crisis for us to look at ourselves, to identify what's triggering us, to identify what makes us feel uncomfortable, to identify what things are poisoning our bodies, to identify what habits are causing us to self destruct, or the patterns that we have where we automatically self destruct. We don't have to wait for that. We could do that willingly. We can choose to heal or to take the steps towards healing, because even when we get to the point of healing where we're like, I am going to get away from these people and I'm going to stop doing this and things like that, right? Before we get to that, we come to a point of realization that that's what we need to do. And usually when we come to that point of realization, it is usually induced through some type of tragic or some type of event that either like made us feel sad, or something tragic happened, right? So we don't have to do that. We can make it part of our daily lives or our weekly lives to be able to examine our lives and literally take out the garbage. We don't have to wait for a crisis. That's what I'm trying to say. What I'm communicating is that we can choose to evaluate ourselves without having anybody coming to tell us, or without waiting for something to happen. We can choose to heal. And the first step to do that is to evaluate what's going on, right? And in the process of doing so, depending on the circumstance of anyone or the things that we're about to do, we can, get a little extra help. We can go ahead and get therapy if we need it. We can go ahead and have a support group. We could go ahead and find the resources that we need in order to be successful in what we're trying to achieve. And we could take it little by little, one step at a time. And one way of doing so, when we're going to do these things, it's important that we understand that we will have to detach from the programming. Yeah. So that, and if that's what we want, right? Like, if we truly believe in something and we want to keep it like that, then that's great. But for some of us that where we had so many experiences, and a lot of the people that were supposed to be there for us really betrayed us, a lot of betrayals, and we don't know what's what, then the best option, my suggestion would be to detach from the programming and choose what you want to input into your vessel. What do you want to believe? Which routes do you want to go? What do you want to consume? And when I speak on consuming, I don't just mean on what we're eating. It also has to do with what we're seeing with our eyes, what we're listening to, right? What we're putting our attention on. Because because this is not something that is pushed for us to like do, that there's a game on Sunday, right? So like, for example, the boys would know, like, on Sunday I'm gonna go watch the game, I'm gonna spend this long watching the game, I'm gonna have some beers, right? So that's the same thing that we should be doing for our lives. Like, maybe Saturday we spend an hour just like reflecting on our vessel, on who we are, what we're doing, and how we feel. And it's for us, it's not for anybody else. And then there's a lot of tools to help with forgiveness, because that's what we really need to be focusing on. Forgiving it all.